Good evening. Tonight we are going to be doing Aseret hadibrot, dibra number 2, part 1. So, in dibra number 2, Hashem says, Lo yeye lecha Elohim acherim al panai. You cannot have Elohim acherim, any other gods, beside me. Okay? We cannot think that there is any other God except for Hashem. Whoever thinks such thought is considered a kofer ba'ikar. It means he doesn't believe in Hashem. Denying Hashem and everything that Yahadut stands for, that Judaism stands for. And it is a fundamental concept of the Torah. Therefore, one should one should not accept as a god an angel, a star, or any power. One should not believe in the zodiac. This is known as Elohim Acherim. All stars receive power from one another. A lesser star will get power from a stronger one, a bigger one, and that bigger one will get power from a bigger one, and goes on and on until it's really we come to Ribono Shel Olam, to Hashem, who gives the power to all the stars. For example, we know that the moon gets its light from the sun. So that's how we talk about stars giving powers to other powers. And that's how they can have an influence in the world. We know that the stars play a very big role in the world. For example, we know the moon has to do with the tide of the sea, when the tide come in and the tide goes out, right? And Hashem says, beside me, there is no other one. Hashem does it all. Hashem takes care of the world. Any statue that is made in the image of a god is considered avodah zarah. And we may not have it in our possessions, even if we did not make it, or even if we don't believe in them. The fact that we own it, that is considered avodah zarah. Idols are considered Elohim Acherim, which could be translated as strangers' God. They are strangers to those who worship them. Those worshippers, they come, they pray, they bring them food, they bring them drink, they bring them gifts, they pray to them, they talk to them, they cry to them, and yet they don't get answers. They don't help. They are like strangers. Someone who's just on the street, just pass by, is a stranger, right? Are you going to just run and help? Well, you're going to be careful, right? So those who refuse to recognize their worshippers, that's what they are, avodah zarah. They are strangers to their worshippers. And they are called acherim also. Acherim can also be translated as different. What does this mean, different? In the olden days, they used to make idols in whatever shape they wanted. They used to make it of gold. But if, for whatever reason, the person became poor or he needed money, so he would take that, let's say it was in the shape of a fish, he would take that fish, melt the gold, and then would sell the gold and make himself another fish of silver, of wood, of stone, whatever it is. So it's not really the same God. It's a different God. It's not the same one, right? And they also make different shape, different material. In the olden days, someone who believed that an idol was capable to help and perform miracles, right, was considered as if that person denied the entire Torah. But this is obviously still in nowadays too, right? Nowadays, until today. It was back then because back then Avodah Zarah, worshipping idol was very, very, very strong, very powerful. Actually, Chachamim had to pray for Hashem um, to stop um, that influence that the avodah that people felt such a strong pull to do avodah zarah. Chachamim had to pray for Hashem to stop that, because even Jews got to worship avodah zarah. So it was that's why Hashem came and said, don't do avodah. Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim al panai. Do not worship any other God besides me, in front of me, al panai, in my presence, right? Rashi actually says in my presence. What does this mean, in my presence? It's as long as I am alive. We know Hashem chai v'kayam. Hashem is alive forever and ever, right? It means we may never ever worship avodah zarah, idols. We know that Hashem has more power than the idol. For the same reason, we don't read books that are written about the power of idols. We know that the power of the pen is stronger than the power of the sword. That means that reading a book can have a very strong influence on a person, a lot more than we think. Therefore, Hashem said, don't have any other God in my presence. That means that the chet of avodah zarah is worse than any other sin. Chachamim teach us that if a person plans to do chilul Shabbat or any other sin, as long as that sin has not been done, okay, it's fine. There's no avera, there's no sin. But the moment a person has just thought about avodah zarah, wanting to worship an idol, that person already sinned, without even actually going and bowing down to the idol. Chas v'shalom. And here it brings me to the story of Abraham. We know that Abraham, from the age of 3 already, he started to ask questions. In his days, everyone worshipped idols, even his father. So, and from the age of 3, Abraham started to ask questions. Who created the sun? Who created the moon? Who created this world? Who did this? Who did that? He really searched for himself, by himself, for answers. Until finally he found the answer by himself. His own father, and we say it in the Haggadah, Terah, he used to have a store, and in that store he used to create idols. He used to make them big idols, little idols, wooden ones, gold ones, silver ones, wooden ones, stone ones, all kind of idols. And people used to come to him, and they used to bring all kinds of gifts or buy an idol from him. And Abraham wanted his father to stop doing avodah zarah. So one day, his father said, Abraham, I have to go away for the day. I need you to take care of my store. Abraham said, sure, no problem. I'll take care of your store. And he stood there in the store. Soon enough, an old lady came, and she said, I want to bring this meal as an offering to the Avodah Zarah. And Avram said, why? So, well, I'm so scared. I cannot sleep at night. I'm afraid of thieves. I'm by myself. I want the idol to protect me. So Abraham said, but the idol cannot move, cannot see, can't hear, can't think, can't run, can't walk. So how is idol going to help you? And she thought for a moment. She said, so what shall I do? He said, no, that won't help you. Can even help itself. She said, oh, you are right. And then she went home. A few moments later, again, another person came. And the same story repeated itself throughout the day. By the end of the day, Abraham took a hammer and he broke every single one of the idols except for one big, big one. When his father came, he said, so how was business today? He says, come to the store, see. His father came and he saw, what happened? What's going on here? Who broke the idols? So Abraham said, well, you see, this old lady came and she brought food. And I gave the food to the idol, but the other idols became jealous, and they were so upset that they went and they started to fight. And the big idol got angry and broke down all the other idols. His father looked at him and says, really? Why are you telling this story too? I'm the one who made each one of them. The idols cannot do anything. Abraham said, really? So listen to yourself. You are the one who made them, and they cannot do anything. They can't hear, they can't talk, they can't eat, they can't walk, they can't run, they cannot think, they cannot take care of yourself. So why are you selling idols? And that's how Abraham was able to actually stop his father from worshiping idols. So we see how, yes, something like this is very possible, and even in nowadays. So I have another story to tell you. In Yerushalayim, there are many churches, as well as, Baruch Hashem, many Bet Knesset, and many churches, and many mosques. And one day, a priest from one of the churches called the police and said, we are having a problem. We'd like you to send one of your police officers to come and check one of the problems. The police said, sure, no problem. I'll send someone from the force. I'll send someone to you. So he said to him, go, and said, yes, but tell him to come in from the side of the church. There's a side entrance. Okay. So they sent an officer. The officer remembered he had to go on the side, not go inside the church itself. And then knocked on the door. And right as you opened the door, there were stairs going down. And he noticed that the entranceway was very low. You actually had to bend down to be able to go down. And he also noticed that straight ahead of him, there was a huge cross. Now he said to himself, if I bend down, it's going to look as if I'm bending down to the cross. So what did he do? He turned himself and he went down backwards. The priest did not like that at all. Whatever, the officer took care of the problem, and they went back to the police station. As soon as he got to the police station, he was told off. What is this? We got a phone call. What happened? What did you do? How could you do something like this? They took away his badge, and they told him, you're off. That's it. You cannot work here anymore. But this is how this gentleman, this police officer, he knew that if he would go straight down, it would look as if he would bow down to the cross. Look how careful he was. And this is something that we can really bump into quite a bit. And we see that there are, like for India, for example, in India, we know that they worship idols there, that they are just unbelievable. I would like to tell you a story, but I will leave that for tomorrow, Bezat Hashem. So, in the zechut of tonight, of this learning, may Hashem help us always have pure thoughts. And in the zechut of this learning, may Hashem bless us all with bracha, hatzlacha, with shalom, briut, nachat, simcha, and zivugim. And I'll see you tomorrow.